I'm sure you all, like myself, will notice in the right, we all talk the most but do the least. Everybody's got something to say. Everybody can point out the issues, but nobody actually does anything about a single issue, so I post about it online. Even myself, up until last year, I was responsible for this myself. I'd sit at home, post online, it's like, oh, it's the immigrants, it's the politicians, it's the billionaires, but not do anything about it whatsoever. So what does that achieve in its all? One of the biggest reasons we find ourselves in this situation, because it's not just now, it's been going on for decades at this point. It's not just our generation, it's the one before or so, where everybody will sit down, they will tell you the problem and do nothing. Still sit there when they're fully aware of it. So these people are just as complicit as the problems themselves. Difference is now there is no excuse. In the past, there was no solid group, no genuine movement capable of doing something. Now in the right, we have too many movements, lots of movements, but the problem is now is the shortage of action. As I said, people will sit there and say, well, it's the foreigners, it's the government, it's the billionaires, the Jews, capitalism, communism. They'll point out all of these things, but offer no solution to do it. This is done because it's the easiest option. I myself did not particularly want to be standing up here talking, but of course you have to do something. It's easier to sit at home and do nothing, and then by joining some online Telegram group or some online Twitter group, and you feel like you're doing something. You post like, oh, remigration now, we're sending them home, we're doing this, we're doing that. And it makes you feel like you're part of some group, when in reality you're nothing. Nobody outside of the online sphere even knows who you are and what you've done. We're in this situation, not solely, as I said, because of the government, but we need to accept responsibility ourselves. As I said, until last year, I was a huge culprit of sitting at home. I was on Twitter all the time, just commenting under things, making posts, thinking, oh, I'm doing great. Telling all my friends, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, what are you guys doing? When in reality, I was doing the same amount as what they were. I was just using words instead. People do this because whether they admit it or not, it's easier just to sit at home, and they think, why should I do it? Why should I take the risk? Why should it be me to put in the effort? Why should I put my job, my family on the line? But to this I say one thing, if you and I don't do it, then who will? Because if we go another 20 years, how we just have, look how bad things will be in 20 years. I don't even think we'll be able to have meetings like this in 20 years unless something is done relatively soon. No one's coming to save us. No God-like Messiah. No once-in-a-century politician. No God himself. Nobody. The only person saving you is yourself. To give examples of people throughout history who have stood up and actually done something, if we can go as far back as Boudica, the warrior queen. The Romans who raped her daughter and took over her kingdom, did she sit back and just think, well, Roman remigration is inevitable, it's going to happen. If I repeatedly pull up signs saying Romans out, if I stick a sticker on a lamppost, well, surely the Romans will turn around and leave eventually, will they not? If I write plaques and hand them out to my neighbours saying, well, it's going to happen, we just need to wait for it to happen. Or did she turn around and go, well, there's Roman refugees in the Rhine. Not all Roman refugees are the same, so we should accept even more of them again. No, she got on her chariot, she got her spear, and she rallied her people. Boudica, a queen of a small tribe, sent tremors through the entire Roman Empire, something vastly bigger than her tribe. The Celts who followed her, do you think they thought, well, I just really like Boudica, so I'm just going to follow Boudica, why not? I'm not busy today anyway. No, they thought to themselves, next time that could be my daughter, next time that could be my farmland. They were a tribe, they were united, not just in blood, but by family and friendship too. This is our blood, and this is in our veins. Another example, Alfred the Great, which everybody speaks about too much, so in this I won't really talk about him, but instead of the average Anglo-Saxon. So in 878 AD, King Alfred the Great had all but lost his kingdom, besides barony in Somerset. The great heathen armies had decimated the kingdoms of Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria and East Anglia. Alfred did eventually take this back, which his praise is well deserved, but as I said, people don't talk about the average fella. These brave Anglo-Saxons didn't have a kingdom at stake, no titles at stake, no wealth at stake, they didn't have anything. All they had was their families, their children, and possibly a little hut. When fighting the Vikings, once they reclaimed Wessex, they didn't turn around and think, well, we'll just leave the rest of it now. Like, what's the point? No, they marched on to unite the kingdom. The Anglo-Saxons, whilst divided in kingdoms, were united in blood. The blood of which, 1,000 years later, over, is still in our veins. Do you think at any moment they turned around and thought, let's run away to Cornwall and set up an Anglo-Saxon-only town and call it Anglo-Saxon Alternative? No, they knew they were in this together. If it was Mercia and the Mercians yesterday, it would be Wessex and themselves tomorrow. This blood is also in our veins. When the armies of William the Bastard, who was inevitably William the Conqueror, landed on our shores, the reserve army of which was actually just down the road in Fairham, was not a plague to it, did they just sit back and let it happen? Even after his own brother Tostig betrayed him and joined the Norwegians, did he sit down and give up again? No. Him and his soldiers marched the length of the country, first up to the north, where they defeated the Norwegians before marching back down south again to meet William, a battle which the Anglo-Saxons almost won when they routed the flank. The only problem was they lost cohesion and ended up flooding down the hill, and then once William rallied them, they ended up crushing them. But this blood is also our blood. What about the World Wars? One of the biggest wastes of blood in European history, be it the trenches of the Somme or the beaches of Normandy. They didn't fight to defeat some random Kaiser, and they didn't fight to defeat somebody with a different political orientation than them. They fought because they believed their way of life, their homes, their people were all at risk. Men, women, children all played their part. Nobody sat by and thought, well, let's let the Cornish do it instead. This blood is also in our veins. And for the final bit, we have the Falklands. No matter how far away, and it was only, 4 decades ago, but back then, when it was invaded, we didn't turn around and think, well, it's too far away, and they're barely British anymore, what's the point? No, we understood that soil was our soil, and we understood those people were our people. So we went and fought for our people. Whereas nowadays, I think if they was invaded again, I think we'd probably end up giving them away or paying somebody to take them away. Britain fought for the British. This blood is in our veins. And that's me done, guys. Thank you.